Ellen McCauley. I'm at Pray It Off on November 30th. Hard to believe that tomorrow will be December 1st. We only have 3 more meetings in Syracuse, New York. We will start again in January with session 31. And this article that I want to call to your attention is by one of my favorite priests, Father Ron Rolheiser. And he writes a lot of articles, and I find them like he's talking to me. And you might say, well, this is an interesting article, Ellen, because it's titled From Paranoia to Metanoia. And a lot of you out there might be saying, what the heck does that mean? Well, I'm going to tell you. You know, what I love is even his first sentence. Sometimes we're a mystery to ourselves, or more accurately, sometimes we don't even realize how much paranoia we carry within ourselves. A lot of things tend to ruin our day. And we just let it ruin our day. And if something doesn't happen to ruin our day, we'll think about something that happened before and dredge it up and stew on that to ruin our day. We are out many times to ruin our own days, because then it will justify, well, I'm having a bad day. I'm going to eat extra. So, what Father Ron, he tells this story about how he's having this great time. He was at this meeting, everything was wonderful, and then someone really said something really mean to him that was unfair, bitter, and it ruined the whole day for him. He struggled not to obsess about it, this person saying it. And I love this line. He says, I stewed in my negativity. Oh my gosh, I have a bachelor's degree in stewing in my negativity. I really do. I can think, somebody can say to me, oh, Ellen, you're so nice, you're so wonderful. And I can say, oh, really? Because I can bring up a couple people right now that'll tell you what a piece of crap I really am. And I even said this to Bob yesterday. I said, there's so many people who think I'm great, wonderful, they love me. And the couple of people that hate my guts, I stew about all the time. Instead of just saying, okay, 98 people love me, 2 people hate me, let it go. And it's hard when those 2 people who hate you are your family members. Oh. Isn't it harder when it is? Oh, yeah. And it's even harder when you say, I'm not going to stew about it. I'm not going to stew, I'm not going to stew, I'm not going to stew. And he gives us some guidance to get to, Jesus uses the word metanoia, which he says, repent and believe in the good news. Well, he uses the word for repent, the Greek word metanoia. But then you're saying, how does one repent? Well, meta means above, and new means the mind. So metanoia invites us to move above our normal instincts, to have a bigger mind, to say, okay, this person's very unhappy with me, but what they're really unhappy with is themselves and their own lives. And how much easier is it to blame your own unhappiness on someone else than to take personal responsibility, to say, okay, you know, there might have been a couple of bad things that happened, but I'm responsible for my life. And that's where we need to rise above these situations that we stew about and have all the bitterness and negativity. And we really need, metanoia stands in the contrast of paranoia. It means that we are unparanoid and believe that there's good news in Jesus Christ. We live in trust, and even the difficult people in our lives that we want to stew about. Let's say someone was mean to one of your children and you can't stand them, you hate them, you can't forgive them for what they did. We're hurting ourselves with this stewing, this bitterness, this negativity. And that stewing affects our metabolism. It affects everything about us. And we have to think of the 98 that love us. And I look at my own husband. My own husband, there's no secrets. He knows every rotten thing I ever did in my life. Everything. I know every rotten thing he ever did. And guess what? I think he walks on water. I think he's one of the best men I've ever met in my life. I love him with a passion. You're not the worst thing that you ever did. You are where you are now, overcoming some of those things that you did. And if people don't want to forgive you for a mistake you made in 1972, how many times can you apologize? How many times can you say, I truly am sorry? And there are people, and I always wonder how they can do it, that someone's murdered someone that they love, and they forgive the murderer. Now, I'm telling you, I never murdered anyone. So if someone can forgive a murderer, I think someone can forgive someone for being very busy at work and maybe not having as much time as this other person thinks that you should have devoted to them. So the thing is, you have to just let it go. And I'm speaking not only from my own personal experience, I hear your stories. I have done topics on forgiveness. I have done topics on letting things go. And I have heard your words. I have heard many people in this group say, I will never forgive this person, ever. I've heard your words. And this is what I'm saying to you. You hurt yourself. I hurt myself by stewing on, I have to go and not stew in my negativity. I have to believe in the good news. Jesus Christ on the cross took every mistake, every sin, everything we ever did. And he loves us and forgives us. And if someone in your life isn't loving you and forgiving you right now, and you're stewing in that negativity, we can't let it divert us from our journey. Each one of us has two minds and two hearts. The image and likeness of God inside of us that's warm and generous and empathetic. And then we also have a petty mind and a petty heart. Just like, how dare they treat me like this? Poor me. Womp, womp, womp. You know, and this inner complexity, we are both big-hearted and petty, open-minded and bigoted, trusting and suspicious, saint and narcissist, generous and hoarding, warm and cold. That's each one of us. You know, and one person came up to me once and said, I look at you in church and I think, oh, if only I could have had the life that you had. It must have been so charmed and so easy because you just exude such positivism. And I said, I had a rough journey and I made a lot of mistakes, a lot of mistakes. And the reason I have positivism now is because why not? Why not look at each day and say how beautiful it is? Why not try to have less paranoia and more metanoia? We can have within our big minds and big hearts the kind of love that we can face stinging remarks and still be warm and still trust God. I'm going to stop right there, Bob.